All right, this section is about how cells divide in the cell cycle. So how do I make new cells, pretty much? The cell cycle is going to be broken down into three different steps. Our first step is called interphase. This is the majority of the cell's life. This is just kind of how it grows, develops, carries out its everyday functions. When it gets ready to divide, it goes into step 2, which is mitosis, which is the preparation step for dividing. So it needs to copy everything in itself and kind of separate into two groups. And then step 3 is cytokinesis, and that's the actual division of the cells, the cell membrane pinching off and forming two cells. So let's look at the first stage, which is interphase. Three things are going to happen in interphase. As you can see by our little diagram, interphase is the longest of the phases. You can think of time being this outside edge. Interphase is what most of the cell spends its life in. And when it gets ready to divide, it goes through mitosis here and then cytokinesis, which is the actual division. So here our cell is going to grow. It's going to read its DNA. It's going to start copying its DNA, and it's going to prepare to divide. We'll get into DNA replication in the next section. So growing, as the cell grows, it's going to do a few things. It's going to grow to full size. It's going to make different organelles it needs, produce more ribosomes, more mitochondria, vacuoles, whatever it needs. It's going to function in its everyday use. If you're a blood cell, then it's going to be taking oxygen from your lungs to your brain and stuff like that. It's also going to copy mitochondria and chloroplasts, which again are two things that we use to produce and use energy from cellular respiration and photosynthesis. DNA replication is going to occur during this phase as well. Basically, your DNA is going to unzip and copy itself. We'll talk about that in the next section. I just do want to reiterate that mutations can occur anytime we're copying DNA. It's not a likely thing to happen, but it is possible to occur. Mutations are not necessarily harmful. Some are beneficial, but they can occur whenever we're copying DNA. And again, just to prepare for division, it's going to produce structures it needs to divide. Those might be your spindle fibers and things like that we'll get into. Stage 2 is mitosis. Mitosis is further broken down into four stages. So our cell cycle has 3 stages in it, and our second stage, mitosis, is broken down into 4 stages: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. You can help remember that by the acronym PMAT if you need to. But basically, we are going to further divide our nucleus here. Our actual cell is not being really divided here, but our nucleus is. So our first stage is prophase. In prophase, your chromatin are going to condense to form chromosomes. So we're going to take all this DNA and we're going to push it together to make chromosomes. Chromosomes are by this picture, you are going to get this kind of X kind of structure here. One chromosome consists of one side of it, while the other one consists of the other. So this is a pair of chromosomes, and they are connected by what we call a centromere. We will get more in depth into these later. But we are going to start breaking our nuclear envelope again, because again, mitosis is mostly going to happen in the nucleus of our cell before it decides to split. Here, you can see these are our spindle fibers. Stage 2 is metaphase. Metaphase you can think of as middle. The chromosomes are going to line up across the middle of our, really it's the nucleus, that's where they are, but and our spindle fibers are going to start pulling them apart, which means in anaphase, our chromatins are going to separate and move to opposite sides of our cell. So you can see our chromosomes separated. I'm getting two of them. These are called daughter chromosomes. Our cells are going to be produced, our new cells we are going to refer to as daughter cells. But this is anaphase. After anaphase, we're going to start to narrow off our nuclear envelope here and eventually pinch off and form two nuclei, each with the same number of chromosomes in them, because again, remember we copied them, and each new nucleus has a new set of chromosomes. Our third stage is cytokinesis. Cytokinesis is the actual splitting of the cell. So not only am I going to put one nucleus on one side, I'm also going to divvy up all the other organelles inside my cell. They're going to slowly move to different sides of our cell, and our cell membrane is going to pinch off in the middle and eventually form two different cells with both with a nucleus and roughly the same amount of organelles. Again, we do need to copy mitochondria and chloroplasts in our cells in order for them to make energy to continue processes. So they do definitely get split across.